Hello, world and universe. Welcome to the Trevor Donald Experience. Manifest your truth. And if you're new to the channel, please hit that like and subscribe button. And for all my continued followers, I want to say thank you. And this is an opinion-based video channel where I try to open your eyes and ears up to some of the travails and tribulations that take place throughout our cities, our states, our country, and sometimes around the world. And I got to get you this one coming, unfortunately, from an ex-NBA player, Gilbert Arenas. And he has been allegedly arrested and indicted on an alleged high-stakes illegal poker games that were taking place at his Encino home in California. Well, let's get a little background story for those who don't know who Gilbert Arenas is. I don't think he's a huge household name. He was a 2 or 3 time NBA All-Star in the early 2000s. I think he got drafted in 2001 to the Golden State Warriors. He went to Arizona University for 2 or 3 years and elected to go into the draft before he graduated from college. But there is a backstory to Gilbert Arenas, which makes you wonder, where is his level of maturity, his business acumen, and evidently, as his pay increased, his intelligence and maturity did not accelerate at the same level. And this happens to many professional athletes. They are young, semi-educated, or even what you would call typically uneducated in the American sense of the word. And then they get bestowed upon them millions and millions of dollars. So this is like giving a teenage kid or a young person winning the lottery millions of dollars, and they're not prepared for life, the pressures, the fame that goes along with it. And we have to question and wonder, Gilbert's like 43 years old now, and he's made a few mistakes that have cost him dearly. So let's go back. As I said, he was in the 2001 draft, and he ended up going to Golden State. And then after 2 years, he had an opportunity as an unrestricted free agent to sign with another team. So he signed with the Washington Wizards, a 6-year, $60 million deal. Played about 5 years in that deal, and then he opted out, I think, of his last year. And in 2008, he signed a 6-year deal for $111 million. So that's $171 million just in NBA contracts alone. And during that time, he went to made 3 All-Star appearances, and he signed a 5-year, or I think it was an 8-year, $40 million contract with Adidas. He was making $5 million a year with Adidas. So he was making $10 or $15 million a year with the Washington Wizards, and at least $5 million in endorsement earnings from Adidas by 2008. Well, right after he signed that $111 million contract in 2008, the very next year, Gilbert Arenas got in trouble for bringing unsolicited guns to the arena. He had gotten into it, I think it was over a gambling debt with one of his teammates. Now, mind you, Gilbert, I just told you, signed at least $170 million worth of contracts. There are many other ball players after games on the off time. They play cards together. They do some kind of semi-high stakes gambling. But the alleged player, I think his name was Crichton, had owed Gilbert Arenas some money. And Gilbert took it upon himself to bring unsolicited weapons to the arena. Subsequently, the police got called. He got arrested and suspended for the remainder of the season. And I want to say he cooperated and took a plea agreement for a felony conviction. Subsequently, he lost his Adidas contract because of moral clauses in there, and the Washington Wizards traded him. After that, he goes to Orlando. Now he's got all these personal off the court issues, and he started having a lot of injuries. And there was he goes to Orlando, and then there's about $65 million left on his contract, and he ended up getting his contract bought out. His professional career went on a decline after the gun incident. So he had some issues, and this is going back 15 years, where he should have learned from that situation. He also has a son who is a McDonald's All-American right now, who's projected to possibly go to the NBA in the next couple of years. Gilbert Arenas is 43 years old, newly married. So those are all signs of someone entering middle age and should be a sound, rich adult. He also has a YouTube channel called Gil's Arena, and it's doing very well. So he's got good things going for him, but it seems as if Gilbert Arenas can't figure out how to handle his personal life. So after the gun charges, the plea agreement, losing his Adidas contract, his career goes in decline. He takes a buyout, and then his career is over. And now, as his trajectory in his business life started to take off with his YouTube channel, Gil's Arena, I guess Gilbert Arenas decided to step back into the world of tomfoolery and to be a dummy again. And this time he is involved in a high stakes illegal poker games that were taking place at his home. He was staging them. So let's get into the story. Former NBA star, suspected Israeli crime figure, all are arrested on federal indictments alleging high-stakes illegal poker games at Gilbert Arenas' Encino home. Former NBA star Gilbert Arenas and 5 other defendants, including a suspected high-level member of the Israeli transnational organized crime group. Now, why would Gilbert Arenas be involved with an Israeli organized crime figure? They were all arrested on federal indictments alleging they operated an illegal gambling business in which high-stakes poker games were played at an Encino mansion which Gilbert Arenas owned. But you got to listen to this whole story, and Gilbert Arenas could be in hot trouble, in hot water. Arenas, 43, aka known as Agent Zero of Woodland Hills, is charged with 1 count of conspiracy to operate an illegal gambling business, 1 count of operating an illegal gambling business. He had 1 conspiracy to operate an illegal gambling business. He had 1 count of operating an illegal gambling business. Look at those 2 words. He had a conspiracy to operate, and he's got a conspiracy of operating. And he's got 1 count of false statements to federal investigators. So remember, if he's doing this illegal gambling, you're going to have, and he gets caught, you're going to have the IRS involved in this. And the man made $170 million in NBA contracts, and he was making $5 million a year with the Adidas contract. He's got enough money. If he put his money in a 5% safe investment vehicle, whether it's the S&P 500, he could live off the interest alone. You're talking about generational wealth. Why is he entertaining illegal poker games? He was scheduled to make an initial appearance, and he was arraigned in the United States District Court of downtown Los Angeles, and also charged in the indictment and arrested in connection with the illegal gambling business. Charges are, now these are some difficult names, these are some foreigners, is Yevgeny Gershman, 49 years old, aka Giora, of Woodland Hills, a suspected organized crime figure from Israel. Now, we know we have the Israel and Palestine war going on in the Gaza Strip. Israel's not being put in a good light in national news today. There was another guy, Evgeny Torevsky, 48, aka name Eugene, of Tarzana. You got Alan Austria, who's 52, aka Elika of Western Hills. And then you have Yaron Cohen, 27, aka YC of Tarzana. And then this last person you have is Ivgen Kruchen, 43 of Tarzana. Each of these defendants are charged with one count of conspiracy to operate an illegal gambling business and one count of operating an illegal gambling business. Their initial appearance and arraignments were scheduled, and they appeared in Los Angeles court. According to the indictment that was returned on July 15th and unsealed, they allege that from September 2021 to July 2022, so the feds have been watching them since September of 2021. The feds are not going to go after you and indict you just looking at you for a month or 2 months. It is 2025. This is 4 years ago. 4 years ago. So from September 2021 to July 2022, Gershman, Gilbert Arenas, and the other defendants operated an illegal gambling business. Arenas rented out his Encino mansion he owned for the purpose of hosting high-stakes illegal poker games. At Arenas' direction, Arthur Katz, 51, of West Hollywood, staged the mansion to host the games, found co-conspirators to host the games, and collected rent from the conspirators on Gilbert Arenas' behalf. So there is plotting, there is a certain level of consciousness and awareness that is going on how they stage these games. Gilbert Arenas cannot plead ignorance. Gershman, Torevsky, Austria, and Cohen managed illegal pot limit Omaha poker games, among other illegal games at the Encino Mansion, collected a rake, which is a fee the house charges from each pot, either as a percentage or a fixed amount per hand, and invited players to compete. Gershman hired young women. Now this sounds a little puffyish, Sean Puffy Combs, because there could be more to it than just this illegal gambling. Listen to this. Gershman hired young women who, in exchange for tips, served drinks, provided massages during a poker game, right, and offered companionship to the poker players. That sounds like they're leaning towards an allegation of possible prostitution. The women were charged a tax, a percentage of their earnings from working the games. Chefs, valets, and armed security guards were also hired to staff these illegal poker games. Kruchen worked as a chip runner, in which he tracked players' wins and losses, distributed poker chips to players, and paid employees. Gershman, who is an Israeli citizen, also is charged along with Valentina Kojakari, 35, of Woodland Hills, with 3 additional counts: conspiracy to commit marriage fraud, and making a false statement on an immigration document. So you got IRS issues, illegal gambling, possible prostitution, and then this Gershman guy, this Israeli citizen who's supposed to be in the Israeli mob, is committing marriage fraud. In early 2022, Gershman conspired with Kojakari to enter into a sham marriage for the purpose of obtaining permanent legal status, to procure legal status for Gershman, who provided financial support to Kojakari in exchange for her participation in the sham marriage. So evidently, Gershman, the guy from Israel, is not even a legal citizen here in the United States. Both Gershman and Kojakari submitted false information on their U.S. immigration forms, including Gershman's answers of no as to whether he had ever been detained by any law enforcement official, and as to whether he intended to engage in illegal gambling or any other form of commercialized vice. So this guy is, not only is he potentially or allegedly in the Israeli mob, he's an illegal citizen. He's committing marriage fraud, and he's falsifying documents on U.S. immigration forms. This guy's in a world of trouble for someone who's not even a legal citizen here in America. And here again, this is who Gilbert Arenas is deciding to spend his personal time with while he's married, has an all-American son that's going to college and possibly could be in the NBA in the next couple of years. Gilbert Arenas has made at least $170 million in NBA contracts. He was making $5 million a year with his Adidas contract before he lost it due to the gun charges and the felony plea under the moral code or moral clause in his contracts. He fumbled the bag with his NBA contract. He fumbled the bag with Adidas. And also, since he's been retired, he even had an issue with his business manager or his financial advisor, who allegedly stole $5 million from him right up under his nose. This is a clear indication that Gilbert Arenas needs to get his personal life in order before he even tries to ascertain his business life. They also said that Kojakari also was arrested and was scheduled to make her first appearance and be arraigned in the district court in Los Angeles. It says an indictment contains allegations that a defendant has committed a crime. Every defendant is presumed to be innocent until unless proven guilty in a court of law. If convicted, the defendants would face a statutory maximum sentence of 5 years in federal prison for each count. Now listen to the agencies that are involved in this, and this tells you the seriousness of the laws on the books. And when you decide that it is fun and games to attempt to commit these crimes, you can get in a lot of trouble. So as a result of Gilbert Arenas associating himself with an alleged Israeli crime figure, an illegal immigrant, there are several of our alphabet agencies that are going after Mr. Arenas. This tells you how it's not just the feds. Homeland Security investigations in the Northridge office are investigating. The Los Angeles Police Department's Major Crime Division, Transnational Organized Crime Section, and the IRS Criminal Investigation are investigating this matter. Assistant United States Attorney Samuel Diaz of the Transnational Organized Crime Section is prosecuting this case. Assistant United States Attorney Ryan J. Waters of the Asset Forfeiture and Recovery Section is handling the asset forfeiture related to the portion of this case. So the asset forfeiture, what would that be? That would be the home where they are participating in this illegal gambling scheme. So there is going to be a number of individuals that Gilbert Arenas is going to have to address and check off all these boxes to get to wiggle his way out of this horrible web that he has created unnecessarily. And we're seeing this way too many times in today's time. The feds are busy. The IRS are busy. This is probably one of the toughest times in the world today to be an entertainer or an athlete, especially for athletes. Your contracts are open to everyone. Everybody knows when you sign a multi-million-dollar contract that people know who you play for. Your visibility is high. And you have to walk a very fine tread in today's time. Even having extemporaneous relationships with women can get you in a lot of trouble under the Mann Act. Just ask Sean Puffy Combs. Just ask R. Kelly. And even the circumstances that happened with Harvey Weinstein and Bill Cosby. You have this woke movement, and you have to walk a very, very tight rope in today's time. There are so many laws that are on the books, statewide and federal wise, that just when you think that you might be reaching a little bit outside of the law, you could end up with several of the alphabet agencies coming after you. Here again, it's just not illegal gambling. Gilbert Arenas has Homeland Security investigating. Los Angeles Police Department's Major Crime Division, Transnational Organized Crime Section, and of course the IRS. Because of course, if you're doing illegal gambling, the United States of America wants its cut of all of it. So Gilbert is in hot water. And here again, this is a telltale sign that we're seeing way too many times during this period where these athletes are making exorbitant amounts of money, but their level of intelligence and maturity is not exacerbating at the same rate as their income. This is a cautionary tale with what is happening with Gilbert Arenas and even Shannon Sharpe, who I will be doing another video about based on his recent settlements with a 21-year-old OnlyFans model. It's not looking good for many of these black athletes. And if you're doing dumb things, it doesn't make a difference what your race, color, creed is. Wrong is wrong. Guilt is guilt. And we are seeing in today's time, the unforeseen becomes seen and the unbelievable becomes believable. Tell me what you think about this debacle that Gilbert Arenas has created for himself unnecessarily. And he might have to be, as Charlemagne the God says on the Breakfast Club, not just donkey of the day, but maybe donkey of the month or donkey of the year. This has been the Trevor Donald Experience. Manifest your truth.